I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we're starting the third round of the international qualifiers of the 2026 Carcassonne Champions League. And today we're about to witness a casualty. We will be watching a match from the lower bracket of Qualification 3, so a reminder to everybody that all the international qualifiers are held with a double elimination system, so you're allowed to lose one match. If you lose the second one, you get eliminated and your Carcassonne Champions League dream is over. And the players in question today are the Argentinian match with the screen name bignacho 610, who is in the Qualification 3 originally because he won the turn-based King of Carcassonne Championship 2025. A reminder to all of you that Qualification 3, this is for 16 players who have won some other important tournaments earlier this year, and his opponent today is going to be Idinidad from Thailand, also a master, and the reason they're there is because the Thailand won the Asian Cup, the Continental Championship. Alrighty. Wait, did they win? No, I don't think they won. They came second or third. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So let's just look at the bracket real quick. Sorry, I'm just waking up today. I'll promise I'll be much better and faster thinking in about 2 minutes when we actually start watching the game. So you can see the bracket over here. Let's just look over the history real quick. Bignacho starting against his fellow Argentinian and showing no mercy, but then getting the same treatment from Croatia's Bluste. This forced them to come down into the lower brackets. As for Idinidad's fate, they lost already in their first round against Poland's MTU. Now they barely won against Vladimir Chendev with a screen name 71st in their first lower bracket round, and now they're faced with bignacho over here. So whoever wins advances to the fourth round of this tournament or the third round within the lower bracket, and the loser gets eliminated. Very, very simple situation here. Best of three as usual. You can see the profiles here of the players a little bit with all their titles. Not going to go in too much depth. Bignacho with the peak rating of over 700, of course, currently 638, 1700 games of experience. Idinidad, I think they started a little bit later, but they've played already a whopping 4,500 games, currently rated at 566, and a slightly lower peak rating at 703. So if we're judging by the ratings alone, then it is the Argentinian who's a slight favorite. But maybe like 53% chance for winning this match is what I would give bignacho. Alright, now the actually interesting stuff. The match itself. Hi, Noel. So, the Argentinian play with the red meeples and the Thai player with the blue. Nacho already has 2 shielded cities waiting to be finished, but they both require a city plus road tile. This here road has just been scored by the Thai player, and as a result a slight lead on the scoreboard, plus the 3-point road, roughly equalish position. I would prefer red here any day. These cities don't get blocked that often, or at max one of them. And let's say if red gets a dagger soon enough to go here, then suddenly this here loop would also be taken for 4 points. Then the city is going to be finished, and these could be like 20 points in just a couple of moves. So Nacho starts a new city on the left, It's an interesting move. I think the more standard play here is to go conservative and not place a meeple there, but I do like these aggressive meeple placements. Just kind of take every bit of space, not allow a move with a Dorito over here, not allow idinidad, just like, for example, starting a new city like this. Yeah, I like this idea. The downside of this move is that quite often one of these three meeples get blocked, but red managed to save his meeple at the top, now save his meeple at the bottom and finish this here city. And the third meeple is mildly vulnerable, but it's still not even under attack. So very good position here for the Argentinian. The Thai player now with the road monastery is going to place it somewhere for 6 points, I presume. We can quibble about the rotation here. No, instead they go for 5 points. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I guess there's some merit because they're controlling this road end. They can pick up this road a little bit later, and they can create some sort of attacking platform here with tempo. I would have preferred just the normal placement, in part because it's more points, but also to take out this option away from my opponent. So if I'm blue here, I would really hate for red to draw a monastery over here. That would just make their position way too perfect. In the meantime, blue is trying to attack this here city a little bit. There are now 3 tiles that fit into this square. And red now gets a dilemma for himself. The standard move is probably to go over here and to just disrupt the city of Idinidad a little bit, but then this would also put this here road meeple into a losing mini battle, well, which would technically be 3 points against 3 points, but then this would leave all kinds of room for Idinidad to build around. I'm not sure how much I like this. So I think if I'm Nacho, I'm just going over here. Yes, I'm allowing my city to get blocked, but it has a lot of expansion potential. So it could be a viable ruin, and sometimes, just sometimes, if my opponent does not get a blocking tile immediately, which he doesn't, well then I can just get a road Dorito and cover it up. I can get another Dorito and go over here, and I can maybe even start building a Death Star city, the one of the rarest types of cities in Carcassonne. Actually, no, a full Death Star doesn't quite work because of this square. Yeah, very interesting move here from Idinidad, claiming this road indirectly and now creating this attacking square. Nacho could protect the square a little bit. Actually, he could just go right here, right now, like this. I don't think he's going to bother. I think he's just going to let blue invade this city. Is just not valuable enough to be worth bothering about. Yeah, I really like how the Argentinian is playing this. Very, very precise in terms of prioritization, like this move, for example, very nicely curving his road into blue's city. Blue gets his monastery stacking machine underway. This was also the purpose of claiming this road like this and not directly, just to have cleaner squares, have this 5-point spot here. Very nice build-up by blue. This city here has been left unattended by either side for a long time. And this is also one of the reasons why I really like the decision for red to not be too bothered with protecting this city, because the more time blue spends in this here area, the less time blue spends in this here area, and the more time it leaves us to draw something like a starting tile, protect the square, and now start seriously thinking about turning this city into something completable. Curvy tile for the Argentinian master. Several options here. Option 1, we go here and try to protect this square a little bit. So we don't protect this city from blocking, but we protect it from invasions. Option 2, we just do something like this. We mildly disrupt this road. It doesn't really accomplish all that much. And in some scenarios, it makes this here square a little bit more vulnerable. And it's an important square for us because at some point we might need this here city completion pattern where we get a triangle tile in this here area and a city cap tile in this here area, And Nacho chooses to protect his city like this. It's quite interesting. I think it's a little bit too limiting. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this move. I get the idea, of course. I get that blue can get something like a vanilla city cap and go over here and then block the square. But I wouldn't be too worried about this. And this is precisely because blue has two threats to attend to, and they might not be able to cover both of them. Well, anyway, finally a monastery for the Argentinian as well. A bright red monk is staring in our faces in the lower right corner of the board. I wonder why he chose not to go here. I think this would have been quite nice to get an extra point from the monastery whilst building up his city. But that way, of course, on the right, you just get fewer blocks in your direction. Yeah, and there we go. The city has been covered up, and the road already has been built up for 4 points as soon as this tile is drawn into that square. And Idinidad, who finishes the road and started a new city, is now really in a position to start thinking about attacking this city here. Not with this tile, of course, unless you want to go crazy and do something like this, creating two vulnerable squares. Whilst tactically decent, this tile is just too valuable to do something like this. This move I'm not a fan of at all, because he continues his city and frees up Nacho's road for further developments, and he should have instead continued the city at the top. That would have been much safer. Whereas now Nacho has a wealth of options. He could finish the road and create a second platform to attack the square, which is what I would go for. Instead, he just attacks the city directly, which I wouldn't go for. And as a result, it gives back a road to Idinidad, which he will now probably claim. Yeah, you have to meeple a road here. Oh, no. That's a bit of a imprecision here. Yeah, that's a bit of an imprecision here. I think as the Thai player, you have to meeple this road for defensive purposes, because if you don't, then quite often red draws a curve and then uses these road segments to cover up his own road. And you see now also, Nacho can afford to move like these, defensive moves against this here square, whereas had blue meeple been over here, Nacho would have been going here instead, just to protect his road from invasions. None of that is necessary, and as I predicted, Nacho gets a curvy tile to take advantage of not only finishing the road out, but all these new here segments. So yeah, a slightly imprecise play from the Thai player. The Argentinian is now completely flawless, takes advantage of that. However, he's still behind on the scoreboard as a result of this here completed monasteries. Monasteries are, of course, exceptionally powerful in this game. Yeah, we can see slight differences in level here. So both players making solid, reasonable move, improving their position with every tile, but the Argentinian is a little bit more surgical, a little bit more precise. And despite him being down on the scoreboard, I probably slightly prefer Red's position anyway. Red has these setups, which he's going to cash at some point. This here road, this here cities cancel each other out. Also something to be acknowledged that blue was finally forced to spend a meeple and neutralize the threat of the city. And I wouldn't be too worried about this if I were red. The main idea was just to turn this city into a threat. We don't have to finish that city in order to win this game. Now, a strategic decision, important decision by the player with the red meeples. He basically had to decide whether to try to create a big city fight by turning this Dorito to the left, or build his own separate city for 6 points. And given the fact that his meeples are still tangled elsewhere, he chose to go for the points. Idinidad, I think, is being a little bit too conservative with this here move. Of course, he just finishes the city for 4 points, which makes a lot of sense. But this city could wait. I'd rather he had taken this 4-point road first in what is soon to become a shared here city. I guess he was afraid of Nacho getting this here splitter tile and separating himself. But it's not such a likely occurrence because this here square would still be vulnerable, and in all likelihood, red would have played the same move as he did. Alrighty. Curvy tile for idinidad. Not many options. We could start a new city somewhere. We could start building a road like this. Yeah, I think just connecting to the city is fine. Although this gives back a reconnection platform, which is probably to be taken advantage of if you're not sure. Or maybe not. Maybe you just finish your city peacefully. Maybe you just want to consolidate meeples. Another move which he could have thought about is just going over here, taking 3 points and helping out inadvertently the city of Nacho a little bit, but you know, we take 3 points, we give you 2, it's still 1 net point for us, and we don't allow red to take advantage of this 3-point road. I think we can still do it now actually, but as Nacho attacks the city at the bottom, it sort of forces blue to re-attack instead. Now a chance to get a meeple back for the play with the red meeples at the bottom. But yeah, you know what I was thinking with this here tile, or with this here tile? He could have gone over here and then later gone here, trying to block that square a little bit. Splitter tile for idinidad is quite perfect. He can go over here, equalize this here city, which benefits him more to have 4 meeples frozen in this here area, because red is a little bit shorter on meeples than blue. But red completes his city setup for not 8 but 10 points. That was the thing that I was talking about, right? Because this here road was still there, and Nacho's position are very, very good. But that's a great tile here for idinidad, these monastery clusters. When he completes it, it's going to be 27 points. There is also some ideas of going like this, like this, like this, and building an exceptionally long road around the monastery. So that's how you get not double, but triple the points for this here square, for example. 1 for the monastery, 1 for the monastery, and 1 for the road. There is also another opportunity of getting just the normal setup with 2 straight lines like this, even though we're running a little bit short on straight lines, only 3 of them remaining. And then setting up yet another monastery, just going with this big here monastery sausage. So, idinidad finishes the road. Nacho scores quick points. Natural moves for both players. Red invades over here. Blue now tries to disturb this road a little bit. It will not be successful, as a curvy tile will promptly be placed in this here area. Unless Ignacio is thinking about going here or here, perhaps, and then finishing this road later. Nah, he decides that with only 1 crossroads in the deck remaining, a block here could be too devastating, but the Thai player in the meantime gets himself 9 further points on the scoreboard. And continues his second monastery as well. We're now completely equal. Technically, idinidad is 2 points ahead, now 2 points behind. After this here move, 1 extra point for more developed monastery and 1 extra point for a more developed city piece. That's a good tile for here for idinidad to start a new city with a shielded tile with some Doritos still available in the deck. So what we need 3 Doritos for the standard completion. 3 of those triangles, and I see 5 of them on the board, so 5 still available. It's actually quite a solid chance. Nacho's trying to block, playing against 2 squares, being precise so that he makes both the monastery and the city a little bit more vulnerable. I think from Blue's perspective, we kind of changed the setup a little bit, and now we plow through. We just go over here, and this is a very special tile. Even though it is a little bit unplanned, there are now sometimes different ideas with the city. For example, we could get one more of these sausage tiles, and get a triple city over here, and even start a biggish ruin. And I think the Thai player will soon come to this realization. It does not come to fruition very often, but first of all, it gives you 2 immediate points. And second, I think it forces now Ignacio to a difficult decision. So he gets the final sausage, the final giraffe's neck, the final extender, the final hourglass, wherever you want to call it. And the standard move here, I think, is to go here and try to block the square, leaving only 1 dagger that's remaining there. But then this city is mildly threatening, so if a rose tile is drawn, for example, for this square, then this guy could threaten the completion of the city. So it's also not unreasonable to go here and invade. But I do like this idea. It really messes with the square so much. And then if our opponent manages to cover up, which is still a big if, because actually there's only 1 rose tile remaining, a tile like this, but there are no starting tiles, and they're 2 daggers still, yeah, 3 tiles that fits well in this square. So maybe this is a little bit concerning, but he goes for the block first. I like the idea. Now, since the sausage has been drawn, it's now not possible to make this here setup that I was talking about unless we get back-to-back triple city tiles. But the chances for that, of course, are much lower. Yeah, also one thing I wanted to comment early, even though this was a good move, I think I would have delayed this, actually. I think if I were idinidad way early, I would have gone over here and just taken these 3 points which bignacho took. First of all, to not allow these 3 points to be taken by my opponent, and second, to still preserve the chances of getting like the normal monastery corridor setup, where you do this, then you build the corridor from both sides, then you fill it with the last monastery, recover your meeple, starts a new one. Then again, 1 road, another road, the corridor is built, then the next monk steps in. And you, in theory, could do this up to 6 times in the game. With 6 monasteries, the chances of drawing 6 monasteries are, of course, less than 2%, 1.5%, I think, technically, or 1 in 80 something. But sometimes it happens. Even with just 3 monasteries, it's quite a powerful setup. We can see that Blue is building up his city. Red, of course, is trying to block, now severely limiting it. So there are 2 daggers that fit into this square and 1 rose that fits into this square. So what's 35% chance of completing this city, something like this. Provided that red does not block it further, which red can still do. And I think the way red does this is red does not need to bother right now. Yeah, let's see how red does this. So if I'm red, I think I'm just going over here and continuing my monastery. And the way I want to block this city, I want to be quite efficient with this. I want to get the Dorito tile here first to finish this here setup. And this would allow me the creation of the platform to go against this here square. This is sort of the standard approach. But then, from Nacho's perspective, maybe efficiency is not necessarily the goal. Yeah, we can see now that a rose has been drawn. Now it's quite a serious concern. And now I think... Ooh, it's also a toughie, right? Do we go over here and we continue setting up the monastery corridor? Possibly even with a farmer? Or do we go here just trying to prevent our opponent from drawing one of these 2 daggers? Like, with 11 tiles remaining, 2 completing tiles for your opponent is really a lot. So much so that we might even go here and start thinking about a compensation farmer. Because then if blue gets this dagger and drops a farmer straight away, then we're in deep trouble. If we're Argentinian. Yeah, suddenly because of these setups, I prefer blue's position again. Isn't that interesting? I think it just looks a bit too much like a mistake to me. Yeah, the blocking idea is nice, but why not from here? So does Nacho know something about how these cities are built that I don't? Maybe he's thinking of a pre-block? Because there's also the idea of getting the Dorito tile like this and kind of bringing that city a little bit more outwards. But then this protection doesn't really do all that much because there's still 3 daggers that fit there. Speaking of daggers, yeah, the problems of Nacho are not over, which is why I didn't like this move. Because, of course, there's these 2 daggers that fit into this square, which give the Thai player a big advantage. But there's also a dagger which fits into this square, which gives blue also a big advantage because he will be finishing up this 6-point city so nicely set up by idinidad a little bit earlier. Yeah, all the Thai player has to do is, I was thinking not this. He's trying to protect the city. It's actually quite nice. I get this. It's quite nice. It is quite nice. But I wonder why he didn't drop a farmer here. I think he might have not recognized that this is going to be a relatively valuable field. Because you see now, if bignacho goes here, which I think he sort of might have to do, and tries to invade the city through the last remaining road Dorito tile, or at the very least to prevent the city from being completed, right? Then what this will create, well, this will create a 6-point field over here, and idinidad could have already been on that field. Well, what can he do now? He can still claim one of these fields. Or actually, I think he can go here and claim a 9-point field instead. This is one of those rare instances where you don't use the monastery as a monastery, maybe? Or you might go here for the 7-point monastery, but then this creates a 9-point field with 3 completed cities on it. And then Nacho just going to drop a farmer there. I don't think we want that. If we want to go for a 7-point monastery, we go here, I guess, to try and maybe even complete this, but then we have to be very meticulous with calculating out tiles that allow us to do this. And yeah, if we do go here now for this here setup for 7 points, there does exist a combination of tiles that finishes the monastery for us. It is a curve and a Dorito. There are actually a couple of combos like this. But he chooses to go for the more standard approach with the 9-point field, mainly to just not allow red to go there. Red can still invade this, or at the very least, red can go here for a 6-point field, which is almost just as good. And then now red suddenly has a setup. Red has a chance to equalize all these city points here and drop a farmer. Which is why also from blue's perspective, I might be considering dropping a farmer here soon. Because if for blue, we know that if this here city gets completed, we're losing points. But then if this here city gets completed, it also creates 3 completed cities in this here area, which would result into a 9-point field. The most valuable feature possible in this position. However, now after we've dropped this 9-point farmer as blue, we can't really drop any more farmers because we need to get meeples back first. We need meeples back for a couple of purposes. Well, first of all, the main one is that we needed to claim the 6 points for this city, or even in some scenarios, the 6 point for this field if we get to complete the monastery with the dagger tile that fit into this square. And there's technically also one more crossroad tile. Oh, actually, no, never mind. There are no crossroad tiles, right? So these have gone out. I was going to say there is a crossroad tile for scoring quick points, but there isn't. So I guess the only reason we need a meeple is to go here and score these city points. Or maybe we can take the other dagger and go here and score 4 points for this here city as well. And Ideally, we would be finishing the city with a different city cap, with the vanilla, for example, which still remains. And just, we can be a little bit more efficient that way. Alright, so blue is now trying to block this here square, which is understandable and laudable. Yeah, because I think if blue can withstand this city from being completed, blue is actually in a great shape. So let's just check out for a second. So blue is losing on the scoreboard, but blue has the better farmer, so blue is only at -1. And he has 1 more point for the monastery, so blue is equal. Blue is going to finish this here city, so he's going to be at +4. And blue already has the advantage in this here mini battle, so he has the city side, which is bigger by 6 points. So if blue manages to just prevent this city from being completed, he's doing fantastic. And he can do it either by a blocking sequence or by simply drawing the last remaining road Dorito tile. This is also possible. Nacho develops his field at the bottom. It's a 10-point setup. Oh, whoops. He chooses to do it a little bit differently. Idinidad, I think, miscounting a little bit, should have dropped a farmer here. Because he might... Yeah, oh, idinidad. It has to be a mistake. He's going to have a meeple surplus. Like, this was very, very imprecise play. I mean, he still can win this. He still can win this quite a lot, but you see what I'm talking about. He could have just had 3 points extra, because now he cashes on his setup. And he will drop a farmer here anyway. And he's going to have 2 meeples to spare when he's going to have only 1 move to play. Yeah, Nacho now gets to complete his own setup. And he gets to share the city points if he so chooses. And I think he so chooses. But this, unfortunately, will result into a 9-point field, which is likely to be claimed by idinidad. But you still have to go for it. It's a 6-point move. Unfortunately, you don't get to meeple the farm, but you get to meeple the road. And look at this. Idinidad actually does not get a road tile. He gets a city tile. And so he's probably going to go over here and claim this here 6-point field. And does this mean that this here field in the center is up for grabs for Nacho? Maybe. Oh, one thing that I also have to remember is that this here city is actually all the way in blue's farm over there. So completing this city gave points not only to this blue farmer, but also to this other blue farmer as well. It was still worth doing because it was a net +3 move, I believe. Because we share the 6 city points. We give the 6 points back to the farmers. And we also meeple this here road. Yeah, and this is the reason why not dropping a farmer here was incredibly imprecise from the Thai player. At this level, you really should be able to calculate meeple surpluses. That's a common endgame calculation that you might be able to do. So you need to make sure that you don't have any unused meeples at the end, because unused meeples are just wasted points. So 3 points idinidad could have had more. But the reason why I think he should have figured this out, because he knew that there was this one tile available. And so he knew that it is still possible to finish the city. And if the city gets finished, then blue gets 1 more meeple back. So that's the thing. That is the issue there. Yeah, well, I wonder why blue is thinking so much about this. There's really only 1 move here. I guess we can quibble about the orientation a little bit, but it doesn't change all that much. And he finally goes for it. 6 points are 6 points are 6 points. Ah, yeah, look at this. And the last tile isn't even a road tile. So Nacho, unfortunately, will not even be able to claim pretty much anything now except this 3-point field at the top. And I believe the Argentinian will lose this, despite having 13 points on the monasteries, which are now being added to his scoreboard. It's just these strategically placed farmers are a little bit too much. So let's see what Nacho could have done different, because he was playing so precisely for the vast majority of the game. I think the one teeny tiny thing is that instead of creating a blocking platform here, he should have gone here instead. And this would have allowed him to block the city without having to invest a meeple, without having to go for this here 50-50 invasion. And then he would have more meeples in hand to preemptively claim the farms. Yeah, that would be something. So for example, he could have gone over here a little bit. If you were a little bit more lucky with the lines, he could have actually dropped a farmer here as well. But, you know, that is the power of setups in this position. Because, like, there was a threat here. There was a threat here. Idinidad kept claiming fields on the other side as well. Kept building cities. And it was just a bit too much to chase. So, very nice turnaround for blue. Yeah, also a very nice monastery setup. Going for the monastery corridor. The 3 moves like this. It's 27 points just for these here 3 meeples. It's peak efficiency, if you ask me. A road built on the side as well. This little road as well. So a lot of points were scored in that area. And with that, the Thai master takes the lead in this best of 3 series. So let's jump right into the second game. Bignacho 6-1-10, 1 game away from elimination, and they aren't even the starting player here. And idinidad places one of his blue meeples in a 3-point city. Nacho, of course, with a nice setup over here, but not the precisest opening. So now which kind of dilemma he faces. I think now he's forced to place a second meeple here on the road, kinda, to protect this road from an invasion. But instead of going for this, there was a bit of a better standard response. So idinidad started a new city. This was the first tile. Nacho went here, but he should have instead gone here at the bottom so that he would claim this road indirectly, and protect the road from being invaded. And now he's forced to invest a second meeple because it would really be unpleasant if blue were to just go here. And fortunately, extremely fortunately for red, he gets himself this setup to invade the city and finish his road on one side. Of course, his meeples are going to get broken here a little bit, but not too much of concern for now, as 8 tiles still fit into this game. But this could have turned way south for the Argentinian if, for example, this tile were not here and idinidad were to draw this one immediately. He could have gone over here and tried to create a mini battle of 1 city meeple against 2 road meeples. This is a very painful mini battle to get out from, because you're losing not only in points but also in the number of meeples invested in the feature, and in some scenarios you're even forced to continue or even complete your opponent's city just to have a playable position. So the worst case scenario is averted, and Nacho pretty much drew like the best tile in the deck possible. 2 moves in a row, now starting to go for a very big city plan, and look at this. So idinidad is now trying to create a threat against the square. Mind you, a threat which would not existed had Nacho known the theoretically best move right over here, but now has to deal with this. And I think the way you do this is you just bank your game on a particular tile. You bank your game on a rose. I think you have to go here, and you also have to meeple the city, and you just have to hope that you get a rose. Then you get to finish this here road, the other road, and the city, and you even get to meeple a new road as well, which of course blue recognizes, and that's why they place a compensation meeple instead. Nacho completes his setup. It's a very powerful setup, of course, but there is an 88% chance of red being successfully completing this setup later in the future. But this also means that 1 in 8 games, these 3 meeples get stuck until the end of the game, which pretty much always results in a loss, or almost always results in a loss. Like, it's just very, very difficult to play 2 meeples down, or effectively 3 meeples down, because this here blue guy gets to build as much as they want. Second, even the temporary meeple disadvantage could cost him. So in some of those 88% scenarios where he does successfully draw this tile, he does so late in the game that he cannot use these meeples effectively. This could mean maybe idinidad using his meeple majority to place some strategic farmers. Or this could also mean Nacho not having enough meeples to build monasteries, like now, for example. I think he should have still gone for it. And yeah, now the Argentinian player will be suffering. His setup on the right is also not the most lucrative, to put it mildly. And he's now even risking 2 of his meeples having blocked. Sheesh and yikes. Yikes and sheesh. So if a straight line goes here, he has 2 of these meeples trapped. And of course, he's trying to cover up a little bit, limiting the number of tiles that go over here. Of course, straight lines don't go here anymore, but curves do go over here. And there's still 6 of those remaining. So the game could be over and like 2 more moves and a straight line, not what he wants. He wants a Dorito over here, or a curve over here, or a dagger over here to protect the square. Idinidad now finishes a city, does not drop a farmer, which I think is a mild imprecision, because this farm is going to be quite good upon the completion of this and this here city, but really not too big of a problem, if you ask me. With so many meeples, you can just drop a farmer later, assume this is the logic of the Thai player. Nacho can now go here, attack this guy here quite violently. This quality of this square will be collateral damage, but one which is worth taking. Because if you think about this, all the threats regarding blocking and completion are in this here area, so both players will be diverting all available resources to this square, so the vulnerability of this square does not matter that much at all. So even now, for example, idinidad could go over here and invade this city, but maybe instead they just want to go here. They just want to create a threat of their own. I'm not sure what's correct here. This is certainly the intuitive move, and Nacho gets his Dorito set up for a huge sigh of relief of the Argentinian fans, and he's finally 12 points on the scoreboard, 8 points ahead, now 5 points ahead after idinidad finishes this here road. It's now going to be a wide open position with lots of meeples for both sides, and even if these here guys take a while to return, now I think I have a mild preference for red in this position, because eventually this setup is just going to score quite a lot of points. On the other hand, this guy is going to be soon recovered with 12 or 14 points of his own, and that's why red is trying to do something about this, limit the number of tiles that fit into the square. Still 3 road Doritos, of course, available, while the Thai player just keeps munching on quick points, is almost equal on the scoreboard. I feel like the position assessment is going to change several times here in this one. Ooh, wait. I missed so much stuff in the chat. So Nalaheim is saying there's something satisfying with this largish empty rectangular space in the center. Yeah, I agree. This, of course, refers to this here area. It's quite an unusual map in that way, and we have many separate fields as a result instead of one big one. Hi Nicola, yeah, correcting me with the farms. I did figure out this eventually. Hi Ian, hi Temrak, hi Krish, hi Santia Costa, hi Juan Alvarez. Alrighty. I'm gonna try and be a bit more prompt in reading your comments, but you'll have to excuse me. It's just what's happening on the board is so captivating that I cannot even for a second avert my eyes from the screen. Well. So 2 quick points are being scored at the bottom. The integrity of Blue's road is put into question. And Nacho over the city cap is now probably wanting to do something about the square. It's actually quite an easy move in this position. He's going to deliberate about it for a second. And he's going to go here with a meeple on the city cap. Ah, I see what he's thinking. Yeah. I see what he's thinking. I think it was quite tempting to go here without a meeple, because you see this invasion idea, it doesn't really work, and idinidad with, I don't know how, like a gigantic mistake, like the biggest mistake we've seen so far, to waste a monastery like this on an indirect defense which doesn't even work, it hurts my eyes so much. And this could be very well the game decisive mistake. Like, if you lose this meeple, you're fine. You don't have to finish the city to win the game. Like, why not go for a 6-point monastery over here? This isn't even the best move. Why not go for a 7-point monastery over here? Okay, you get blocked. Then with this tile, you get to go over here, start a new road, and build like a 5-point road like this. And honestly, I don't even know. It is rather painful to watch, and I can't explain this, I don't know, stream jitters, nervousness, because a player of idinidad's caliber should probably realize that whilst meeple advantage is a good thing, consequently making meeple disadvantage a bad thing, it only applies to meeple advantage without compensation. If you have a completed monastery or soon to be completed monastery, it is more than enough compensation. Hi Sparklo Horsey. Hi Tommaso. Hi Sergio. Yes, indeed, a relief for Nacho. As you guys are saying in the chat. But yeah, if I'm completely honest, like when I see moves like this, like I genuinely feel negative emotions in my heart. It just hurts so much to watch so much potential being wasted. Yeah, and you see now, this is not a bad move necessarily. But I think it could have waited a little bit further. So now idinidad is dropping some farmers. But he's dropping some farmers as soon as he got himself into a permanent meeple disadvantage. And when you get yourself into a permanent meeple disadvantage, you don't want to open up the position. You want to close down the position. And that's why this monastery was so perfect for Blue. Because that is a way for Blue to score 14 points, 9 for the monastery and 5 for the road, and just 3 tiles. And 14 points put you out on the scoreboard. Then you have a few blocked points in this here area and a little bit of this, and this is just enough compensation for a meeple disadvantage. But now that he goes for the field, it opens up the position, and it really makes it so that Nacho's long-term meeple advantage, which he's going to get after he completes this here tile, it will actually show for him, because he will just be able to drop around farmers everywhere and simply win this field from this guy. Now, it's not necessarily bad to drop a farmer there, but if I were idinidad, I think I would have considered just waiting for a different tile to be a bit more efficient. And also, I don't like dropping the city cap, even if it isn't in my field, because there's a good chance that this field will be taken away from me, so I want for the field to be a little bit smaller. Well, in the meantime, whilst the advantage still is solidly with the red player, Blue is trying to make it work. For example, this here move sets up the completion of this here city with a second farmer potentially, and Nacho, I guess, has to go here now try to block the city, there would be only one of these road Dorito tiles remaining. We can restrict it to a 50-50. Yeah, it's a very powerful move. This square is also slightly restricted, well, actually a lot restricted, and basically this guy will probably stay with just 1 point until the rest of the game. This allows blue to go here, build up his side of the ruin, get a couple of more valuable points. We also note that this here square is permanently blocked, this road monastery shaped square, but there are no monasteries anymore. Hi, Ritichai. Oh, that's actually quite a decent move. That's an interesting decision here from idinidad. He chooses not to take any more points, but simply disrupt the city of Nacho, figuring that there was still a sufficient number of Dorito and triple city tiles, albeit this number quite low. He does not want to risk the city being turned into a completable substance. Now 4 points only on it. It's quite an ugly looking city actually. But if you're Nacho, I think we can still plow through. So we have two options here. Option one is we go like this and we start a new city on the left, which could be a powerful 6-point setup. Our opponent very often is not able to successfully block this. Option two, we go here and we try to turn this city into something completable no matter what. I think with our lead, we don't have to do this. I really like the 6-point idea here. I would prioritize scoring in this position because whilst as the red player, I know that with this here setup, I'll be getting 3 meeples back and like, what, 8 plus 3, that's 11 plus 4, 15 points on the scoreboard. Then I'll be doing so well that I even can start planning for some winning ideas for the unlikely event that I do not draw any of those tiles. And these 6 points that I'm going to get for the completed cities can really increase my winning probability. Both players exchange quick points, 4 for the city for blue, 4 for the road for red, still 8 points extra on the scoreboard. idinidad now will either take quick points or try to block the city on the left, and I felt that he was going to go for the block, which does not work at all, yet again. Admittedly, this was actually not a bad block, I think, because there were many more city plus field tiles than there are city plus road tiles, just ended up not working out. Alright, you see, now this monastery is not really possible to use productively because it is easier to, because it's easy to block. And so instead, he just creates an attacking platform against Red City. Nacho's still doing just fine. Probably just needs to start a new city somewhere. What he needs not to do is the move which, I don't know, every player rated between 500 and 600 is tempted to do. Like, just don't go here and drop a farmer. This would be a very unwise field invasion, as tempting as it is. Not so much because of the blockability of this square, but mostly because invading the farm with a city cap is just really unproductive. Because, okay, you take care of one invasion platform, but this creates another invasion platform for your opponent to re-invade, making this field even bigger. And he resists the temptation. Starting a new city away from the action. I really like his strategic choices here. Really just some excellent, excellent decisions. This 6-point city was also not obvious, but it was really, really strong. idinidad now has a strong move available to him. He can go here. Yeah, this is also okay. He's starting a road and abusing this here square a little bit. But the idea of this move is that it would have created a quick points opportunity, that he would get himself not only a 4-point row, but he would also get 1 extra point for his city. He would also block the square, allowing himself a couple more points on the ruin later. Yeah, Nacho can just build up on the right. If he's feeling crazy, he can even go here. and take away the city cap. I don't think his lead quite allows that. I would probably want to keep a meeple in hand just in case something happens. Yeah, for example, I want to keep the meeple if I do get myself the last road Dorito tile, because then I can suddenly build up a road like this, which this would be certainly very nice. Yeah, he just builds up like that. Slightly different build up to what I would have preferred to. And finally, Ignacio from Argentina takes care of his setup, and not only will he get 15 points on the scoreboard and as many as 3 meeples back, he will even deny the 1 meeple back to Idinidad by preemptively blocking this road. Yeah, so it's a big advantage, but Idinidad gets the best tile in the deck, the shielded Dorito tile. It will also allow him to finish the city and maybe even drop a second farmer. Nacho now needs not to go here, I think. I think Nacho now needs to just play compensations. He needs to go here and maybe meeple this road for 7 points. That's a valuable road. It won't expand anymore, but with only 18 tiles remaining and another meeple to come back to your hand, you're going to have 5 meeples after this. You really got to start spending them. This move is also not that bad necessarily because it eliminates a couple of tiles that fit into this square, but I think ideally I want to go here, meeple this road, and then on my next move, if my opponent does not get a city cap, I go here, I meeple the field. And even if I don't meeple the field, I'm kind of forcing my opponent to drop a second farmer over here, making sure that they have only 1 meeple left. And he goes for the road. Lovely move. Many players would have gone for the field here, but Red recognizes that he can drop the farmer later. He has an abundance of meeples. Idinidad now is really suffering with this here straight line, well, because it's not a city cap. So what does he even do here? And I think the solution is that we go here. We have to take out the secondary field. And then, yes, brilliant move here by the Thai player. Nacho will probably try to invade this here city, even though there's still a splitter remaining. Ooh, these are some good chances for Idinidad still. Don't go here, don't go here, don't go here. Be patient, be patient. Yeah, like, the blue player still has genuine chances, but they're all pretty much connected to this here splitter. I think maybe if blue just gets a point, or maybe blue goes here, takes care of this here invasion platform, then tries to get a straight line or something like this to prevent red from completing this with a farmer, then I think he's doing quite nicely. Yeah, the correct move in positions like this really depends heavily on the score. If the score were closer, let's say if blue had 10 more points, then a move like this, finishing the shared city just for the sake of dropping a second farmer, would have made sense. Oh, this is lovely here from the Thai player, yeah, covering up the field invasion platform. And if you're Nacho, yeah, very precise move. He blocks the square. He does not allow himself to invade the city because there's truly nothing that's left. All the 8 tiles that normally would have fit there have already gone. But most importantly, with the lead that the Argentinian currently has, he just wants to avert a disaster. He wants to avert a splitter being drawn here, which would allow the city being completed, like multiple more field points added to the field. Yeah, beautiful play here. Idinidad builds up the cities on the right, scores as much as he can. Nacho with a 7-point monastery now prepares himself a field. And I think if you're Idinidad, you need to get a little bit more desperate, and you need to now probably go here and preemptively meeple that farm before Nacho can do that himself. And then you have to hope to get a city cap and get a meeple back and try to preserve the majority on that field as well. this seems to me the only reasonable path to some sort of victory. Yeah, the Thai player isn't even that far behind. So let's say minus 26, and these here cancel out, and these here cancel out, and these here cancel out, and this here city almost cancels out with monastery. Okay, like it's minus 30 around this. Then the field is... Actually, the field is only 12 of 4 completed cities. Yeah, so he is behind quite a bit. He needs to do risky stuff like that. Nacho now has a chance to go here, actually, and prepare himself another monastery setup for 6 points. Yeah, there's still 2 of those monasteries remaining. He can get his revenge for the monastery corridor tactic that was used against him in the first game. I think we go here. This would also still leave 1 city cap that fits into the city. I guess that's all right. Yeah, and he does exactly this. Idinidad with the perfect continuation for his city. Nacho with a curve. Very easy move again. We defend the monastery. We create an attacking square over here, but one of the monasteries is drawn by idinidad. He just needs to draw another one to deny this guy this here setup. He's trying to block the square. Nacho. Has a curve. Now needs to decide whether he wants to defend his own city, preserving the chances of it being completed. Actually, there would be even 2 city caps that fit here. The rose and the dagger, so that would be quite valuable. Or instead he could go here and partially block this here city, taking away the rose option and taking away the dagger option from him, leaving only this here splitter. Yeah, I think I'm actually more inclined to go for the blocking rather than the defense. Because then, with the tiles that fits into the square that I can use for completing my cities, I can still use other stuff. If I get the rose, I can get 3 quick points over here. And if I get the dagger, then if my opponent successfully completes the city, I can get quick points over here for this new city cap that's going to be lying around. And this is just amazing prioritization from Nacho. And he cashes on his monastery setup. Just textbook play. Idinidad gets the rose, now cannot use it here. And Nacho gets the splitter, meaning that this guy will not even be returning to blue's hand. So at this point, it's just an exercise in technique. How much do you want to think this endgame through? Do you want to invade the field at the bottom, for example? I actually think you do. So from what I'm seeing, there is 1 straight line. No, there's 0 straight lines available. Anyway, so if you go here, at least there's the dagger tile for an invasion like this. This is something. And surely there must be something else. Actually, oh, there's also the quadruple city tile. And because there's the quadruple city tile, it tells me that we need to spend a meeple right now. So we go over here anyway, just because it's a 3-point field, which is better than a 0-point field. And then on our last tile, if we get the dagger, we invade. If we get the quadruple city, we just add 2 points to ourselves. And then I'm not sure what that last tile is. It might be actually just a curve. Yeah, it's just a curve. No. It's not a curve, yeah, because I missed that there are 2 curves in this here area. Yeah, I'm a bit slower today than normal. Hi, Denise. Oh, well, that Dorito tile, it's whatever. Oh, that's actually quite nice for blue because he is now in a position to finish his city. So Nacho now needs to correctly not go here for 2 points, but go here for -2 points, just to prevent idinidad from scoring a 12-point city and a 3-point farmer, which would be a +10 move for him. So if we go here, it is -3, and if we go here, that would be -8. Yeah, that's very precise. -3, of course, because we lose 2, and we lose 1 from our opponents getting an extra point. And -8 would be our opponent completing a 10-point setup, and us getting 2 points for this here ruin. Yeah, very, very precise play here from Nacho, and just an absolute incredible performance. So many key decisions about defense, blocking, prioritization, setups, and all this stuff. The one, of course, big criticism is the very, very first move, as the Argentinian master probably would need to brush up their theory a little bit, starting this here road at the top, which resulted the situation getting hairy around this square. But once they completed this here setup, they were the absolute favorite to win. Yeah, -20 actually, which means that the situation is not even that bad for idinidad. Imagine had he gone for this here compensation with the monastery, he would have come quite close, and there were definitely many, many more chances for him to win this game. For example, if you were to have completed this setup, plus if you were to just finish 1 more city in a couple of places, this game could have been a little bit different. Yeah, but this is the power of blocking threats. First of all, sometimes you are successful with them, and sometimes you even get a little bit extra in the form of your opponent mistakes. So a lot of value lost here. Certainly something quite memorable for the Thai player. But what he needs to do now is just to brush it off. It's an even match. 1 Thailand, 1 Argentina. And the next game will be decide who stays alive and who gets eliminated. Whoops. Alright, see. So Nacho starting the game with his red meeples with a crossroad tile, but the first points go to the Thai player. A giraffe's neck tile. For bignacho, the standard move is to go here. It's quite a pedestrian find. But some players do like weirder things. Some players go here, which is a little bit worse, because it creates a field which they're less likely to claim. It also creates an opportunity for your opponent to play against these here 2 squares. Yeah, so red does indeed start the city in the best possible location. 2 moves available for idinidad. The standard one is to go on the right, start a new city, because at the same time it creates 2 vulnerabilities next to your opponent. And Nacho now already facing a decision here. Yeah, I think we turned this city into a longer-term project, but this is the first imprecision from Nacho. The better move was to place it on the other side because that way was a little bit more secure. There is some asymmetry here. That's because this here square, which could be potentially used for blocking, is actually a little bit restricted. So by going over here, we disallowed moves like this. And also, if we had gone over here, then there would be a scenario where a quadruple road is drawn, and then the only legal square would be over here. So in some scenarios, blue actually helps our road instead of their own road. Yeah, now the city is a little bit more vulnerable, but it's still fine. Like, eventually this square is probably going to be blocked. This square could also be blocked, but this guy can get a defense. He just builds up. Now, idinidad gets a monastery, and I think the best use for this monastery is to go over here and not place a meeple on it and block. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm just poking a bit too much fun at a mistake made last game. That said, actually, these 7 points were a little bit better, but this 5-point move is also very reasonable, controlling the road, also creating an opportunity to create a loop over here. Actually, that's quite a solid, strong monastery placement. So good to know that idinidad learned his lesson from the last game, and he's ahead on the scoreboard anyway. So that's nice for him. Nacho now continues his road, and now he's threatening to take care of this here road end. Kind of both players are fighting for the right to complete their road without having to invest an extra road end tile into it. Of course, blue is the favorite here because regardless of what happens to these here two squares, the monastery gets built up in the process. He could consider going over here, but I wouldn't do it because then he would make this so much more vulnerable for himself. Actually, what do you even do here? It's so not an obvious move. Yeah, from the perspective of a blue player, I literally just don't see anything that works well. I think we just stay put. Yeah, sure, he just discarded the tile, but I think it was a bit better to just build up his city and do something like this. Alrighty. An invasion attempt here by the player with red maples. Blue probably needs to do something about this, maybe like this. A big mistake, but one which is made very often at like a 500, even 600 level, is going over here, thinking that you're restricting the city, and then red gets like a road Dorito, continues his city, and blocks 2 of blue's meeples towards the square. Just try to imagine like this road curving all the way inside. So fortunately, idinidad manages to avoid this pitfall, but it is very easy to fall for because this square is mildly vulnerable and it is a little bit unpleasant to go here. Like Nacho could get a quadruple crossroads, start limiting this here square, but then you have to recognize either through math or through experience that it is not such a likely outcome. Well, blue successfully connected to the city, so a disaster averted from them, as red was prepared to take a Dorito of his own and a triple city for that square and finish the city for 20-something points. Nacho with a straight line. Ideally, he wants to go over here just for scoring, but that would expose a dangerous platform here for the city takeover. But you know what? We're behind on the scoreboard a little bit, and our opponent has a monastery set up. Why don't we try to spice it up and actually go for it? I think we do it. I think we do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Please give us some content. But also, I genuinely think that this is the best move. Like, because if we just don't do anything, we're just down with no compensation, you see, and this is something that I don't like. This meeple is mildly vulnerable. If we get this guy blocked, there's going to be this big farm, which we're losing. I really want this. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yes, Dennis, this is a best of 3. So we are looking at the decider, and perfect. So Nacho goes for the risky move. I love it. It pays off, as blue does not get a city attacking tile, and instead he's forced to spend a tile on simply defending that square or not allowing a red to follow through with his setup. Now red can do what, actually? Option 1, we continue our road. Does not look too appealing. Option 2, we go here. I do quite like this, and we sort of force our opponent to use a crossroads in a way that completes our road. I think I'd go for this. Option 3, we go here for this here farm, and this farm has a lot of potential, surprisingly, despite the fact that it only scores 3 points for this here city. Like, lots of city caps lying around, lots of green squares. And yep, he goes first of all for that there setup. Just making sure that his road is well taken care of. And Nacho finally gets himself a split a tile. Finishes his vulnerable city. Starts a new one, which is quite interesting. I would have probably gone for the farmer straight away, because idinidad has one really strong move here, and of course he finds it. Not an easy find, actually goes for a 9-point field, and at the same time starts obstructing the city of Nacho. Difficult position for Nacho here. Idinidad now is going to finish the city of his own, potentially even dropping a second farmer, chooses not to do that. This, of course, allows Nacho to drop a farmer here or here of his own. I think we go for it as soon as possible. It's also not crazy to actually go here and drop a farmer like this and be way more risky and try to connect here through the dagger whilst completing our own city, and at the same time creating a vulnerability in this here square. Let me just zoom out a little bit, because the quadruple city tile, the quadruple road tile rather, has been drawn, which means that there are more opportunities for red to try and block the square in the future, which would lead to a long-term meeple advantage and potentially a 1 field. Yeah, what do you do here? Maybe like this is a bit more natural to take care of the most obvious field connection platform. Then, you know, we get the road monastery. He goes for a bit of a crazier farmer. It seems to rely a little bit too much on the road monastery setup, but I can see how that could work. Now I guess you can go over here and try to build the city like this and invade through this here area if he needs to. Yeah, this of course is quite dangerous, but it's whatever. Because the thing is, this square is actually still quite safe, because blue cannot put anything on the left for a restriction. As soon as blue puts something here, like a straight line, then red gets a curve and blocks this here square instead. Yeah, blue builds up over here. Blue is also trying to do things like this. Oh, and blue with a farmer straight away. That is some monstrous stuff. Finishing both roads and the monastery 15 points ahead on the scoreboard. Nacho with 2 quick points at the top, I'm gonna reckon, unless he chooses to go here and drop a farmer and be like incredibly risky. I don't think we're there just yet. I think now this here farmer, even though I do like it, it's already scored 6 points and stuff. This farmer gives us actually an excellent opportunity to get an extender and try to build a city like this and separate this farmer from the action and try to do something nasty in this part of the board. And this position, of course, I still prefer blue just because of the scoreboard lead, but there are plenty of opportunities, you know, this here city play, the monastery play, the extra farmers, and what's not to be underrated is a city play like this, this farmer, this city meeple rather, is not just for the purpose of developing this here field, it also is eyeing this here city square. Yeah, look at this. I knew this. Nacho doesn't even bother completing his city, which is quite interesting. He wants to just separate everything. But then on the other hand, if this here square gets blocked, I don't think I like it either too much. I think if I'm Nacho, maybe on my last move, I would have completed this city anyway, just to keep parity on the meeples. Because then the scoreboard difference is really not that great. It would have been 9 points, still the same 9 points. And then just the whole game becomes about the field. And if I'm confident about how I've played the game previously, then I'm just happy to create a big field. Because you see now, this square is very likely to get blocked, and red's going to have a meeple advantage. And the whole idea of separating this here guy from the rest of the farms doesn't really work anymore. Well, the separation itself works, but what's the point? Because after this here tile, the field on the left is actually almost as significant as the field on the right. It has 3 completed cities on it for 9 points, an extra city cap, and a bunch of green squares for further development. So it looks like red eventually will have to drop a farmer somewhere here to equalize the city, and he'll desperately need that meeple from this here square unless it comes back. So I think this here is a bit of a misjudgment. A few moves ago, I would have been totally okay with not completing the city. Now, after this here tile, the situation is a little bit different. So now we're in a position again where the Argentinian needs to do something a little bit more crazy. And a move I'm thinking is actually like this. It creates a vulnerability here, but also it creates an opportunity for either side to win this city. And I just love that. I just love that so much. It's not the only option though. Like, it's not crazy to go here for the farm right now. No, it's a bit crazy. It's not crazy to go here and indirectly take away the city cap and try to look for a road Dorito and a city cap combo to finish a 10-pointer, potentially with a farm here. Yeah, he goes for the crazy play, and I like it. It's not going to work out right now, as idinidad surely will invade, or will he? That is actually a very interesting question. And he goes for it. He goes for the 75%er. And this could get quite interesting. Now, the chances for bignacho in this position are not great. But now that blue has gone for this here invasion, there's still 2 tiles that fit over here, and this city is probably going to be game-winning. The game-winning plan for red is actually also quite okay. I think all he needs to do is draw both of these horse tiles, for which there's a roughly 25% chance, and then this means that this guy will be stuck here with 1 point forever. And also, the horse tiles are good tiles anyway. You can use one for quick points, or you can use one over here, dropping a farmer, invading through this city cap, equalizing all the fields, then using an extra meeple to drop a farmer somewhere else, invade through a monastery, through another monastery, run away with the game. There are even some scenarios where red win this despite blue completing this city, but it requires red drawing this monasteries and dropping some strategic farmers. So we're equal on the scoreboard now. Time for idinidad to do something productive with the curve. He goes for a farmer invasion. Nacho with an excellent tile suitable for him in 3 places. Technically 4 places, but we're going to eliminate one option soon enough. So let's go through the candidate moves. Option 1, we protect this square and drop a farmer and try to get one of the 2 daggers to invade in his field. It looks quite appealing, but is of course high risk because we're going to need to draw another instance of a specific tile. Option 2, we finish the city, potentially dropping a farmer, potentially not. There are options about this. I would probably go with a farmer, considering the fact that I have multiple options. He goes for the content play. He really, really wants this. I can see how that can totally work. And look at this. He gets the tile immediately. He cashes on the setup immediately. Oh, how did he know? How did he know? What a content play here from Red. One in 15 chance of that happening. Actually, 1 in 15 is not that low. Or 2 in 30, but idinidad with a setup of his own is going to get 3 points for the road, and most importantly, a ginormous number of points, 24 points for the city, 24 points ahead on the scoreboard. But Nacho now is going to go all in on the field, finishing the city, dropping a farmer. He can still win this if he gets the majority on the field. Idinidad can block now one of these field invasions, or he can do so many other things. This is so interesting. Let's walk through the candidate moves for idinidad. Option 1, we go here, we take 2 points, we block the square, and then later we hope to get a Dorito or something to block the other side. Option 2, we take 4 quick points. Option 3, we take 4 quick points here and eliminate one of the field connection platforms. Option 4, we go here and we drop a farmer, yeah, and we try to invade through here with a curve. This is, of course, the most spectacular move, but the downside of that move is that it creates a city up for grabs. For whom? Well, not for blue, for red, of course. And red could even go for a content play. So if red gets 1 Dorito, he can go here first and meeple not the city, but the field. And then with the other Dorito, he can meeple the city straight up. So there's some very, very risky options available. Nacho, with the scoring tile, he's considering whether to go here for 9 points or here for 8. I'm pretty sure we go here for 9. Just to take care of the option. Like, we're behind 20 points. We can't really afford to do anything else here. I think he's a bit afraid of, like, this square getting blocked, but this guy has 2 routes into the field. Yeah, I think we still go for it. Dorito to offer idinidad, so he's the one to take care of this here square first. Yeah, Nacho now needs to think real hard about this one, because this city threat is quite big. And maybe we go here? We definitely go here. What's maybe? No. Have a look at this. Yeah, so many options. Option 1, actually, we can still take the 5 points and then just hope to reinvade the farm later, so it's not a problem of letting this guy in. However, this here move, I think, would do a lot for our winning probability because there is an imbalance in remaining Doritos. There is 4 of these here, guys, 4 of road Doritos, and only 1 of these here field Doritos. So now there's a 50-50 chance only 1 tile that fits into the square. However, idinidad cashes up on his other setup. Nacho, with not a great tile in a vacuum, but I think here he can do some damage. He can go here. Maybe restrict the square a little bit, and it's not so much of a restriction, it's more of a setup, because as soon as he goes here, he can actually then go here and drop a farmer and invade like this through a Dorito. Idinidad cannot do all that much. I guess he can go here and prevent some blocking opportunities, but his city gets blocked nonetheless. Nacho, of course, is going to here. He's not going to take any chances. And minus 16 points on the scoreboard is very, very playable as long as you have a big field to fight for and the meeple to use for the fighting. Idinidad now gets a 3rd farmer into the field. I'm pretty sure he's going to use the curve to connect his farmer at the top there. Alright, Road Dorito for Nacho. And it's super tempting to just go and claim this road. It is so many points. It is 8 points, but then it would really suck to give away a meeple to our opponent. On the other hand, if we do not go there, then idinidad himself, he will finish the monastery and start this 8-point road. And this will put his scoreboard lead to a bit of a too dangerous territory where suddenly he can have some fieldless win ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 completed cities. And potentially an 11th one will be maxed 33 points for the field. Yeah, and this, I guess, gives idinidad enough stuff on the board to try and play without the field. But if I'm Renacho, what I'm thinking that I know my opponent a little bit, and he's really just not the type to go for fieldless wins, as was shown by the last couple of games and just general history. He's quite early with farmers, very proactive. So I think that I'm not too worried about my opponent giving away such an opportunity. But you know what I can do, maybe? Maybe I can just claim this road myself for now. Yeah, like this, indirectly. And obviously I don't have to place the square right now. And then I can keep the option open. Yes, loving that idea. Meepling the road. This would make it harder for idinidad to finish his monastery. And even if he does, then suddenly we can get a curve, drop a farmer like this, then connect one farmer over here like that, through the outside. Then we can get a straight line like this, drop a farmer like this, and then through this square, we can connect a farmer like that all the way through the outside, plus this here farmer through the inside. So there are some powerful, extremely high-scoring setups available if this square ever gets filled. Idinidad now needs to think about the field geometry with this tile. There's nothing much to be done in terms of scoring, but there are several ways how this board can be improved. So option 1, we go here. We try to cover up this here square a little bit. Yeah, and he goes for this, and I do quite like this. It has some downside, but you know, it's whatever. Will he drop a farmer here? No, he just goes for the regular stuff. I can understand that he might not want to go through the double ninja setup. Idinidad probably should still get a meeple back. On the other hand, what does he need a meeple for? Or maybe he can go over here and start a new city instead. It's really difficult to play strategically because you can see all these candidate moves, right? But then which one of them actually gives you the best winning chance? And the Thai player decides that he just needs meeples to defend the field. I think Nacho's okay with his decision. He can now go here and drop a farmer, for example. That is not crazy. To try and connect through the outside of the field. This is not crazy at all. Sometimes it gets blocked, but you know, he is in a difficult position. There's, of course, also the problem that sometimes this guy does this. Yeah, he goes for it. He absolutely goes for it. And can it be blocked? And I don't think this setup can be blocked right now. But what idinidad can do, he can go here and he can drop a farmer to equalize, which I think is the strongest move that is available to him, making sure that if this guy connects, then this guy would connect to the farm also through the same route. Ideally, if you're ahead on the farm, and if your opponent is dropping a farmer, and you have multiple options where to drop your next farmer, you should try and equalize the farmer in the same spot where your opponent has, so that they are faced with the choice either to connect both of your meeples or to connect none of the meeples. Because if you drop a farmer elsewhere, like this is a completely reasonable move, there are some scenarios how your opponent connects and you just don't, either because you get blocked or because you never draw the connection tile. I think now, of course, the Thai player needs to do some accounting, but he needs to come to the realization that it is not possible to block that square completely. It is only possible to restrict it to a 50-50 or to an even more high prob completion opportunity. But let's see exactly what he does here. Yeah, this is also quite interesting because if you don't go here for this here square right now, Nacho could draw something like a Dorito, and who could be better with Doritos than Nacho? Like that. And then get a regular curve and bring not one, but two farmers into the field at the same time. Yeah, and we can see that idinidad goes for the 50-50 block instead, which with this lead, I don't think that's the play. I don't think that's the play. I think Nacho should be quite happy about this. Again, I triple checked with my eyes. There's still one tile that fits here. Nacho now drops another farmer. He's trying to get the majority on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, so unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So unfortunate. He's going to have this here farmer blocked. Mercilessly blocked. With no mercy. Just before he was going to connect. Oh, this is so sad, but he can still win this. He can still absolutely win this. I can see opportunities. So now we just need to get ourselves another meeple, right? We can get a straight line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One still remaining. And then after we get this here tile, we actually get to have a meeple back. We could even drop a farmer here right now. That would be a little bit crazy, but so what? I think maybe we don't go there just yet, because ideally what I want to do, I want to be efficient, and I want to wait until my opponent goes over here to try and block, and then I defend and drop a second farmer over here, so that when I get this tile, I bring all of these guys into my field. A reminder to y'all that this here top farmer will be just the equalizer, and this guy is blocked. So red needs to find at least one more farmer to have himself the majority on the field. The majority on the field in most scenarios will be enough for him to win the game. The field is 30 points. That will put him ahead +5, and he has the slightly longer road compared to his opponent's city, so that will put him +8 actually. Oh yeah, and if he connects to the farm, his road will become even longer, like this. So he'll be +12, and it's difficult to score 12 points with 2 meeples. You can score 6 or 7 over here. You can also score the monastery. But hey, no, not now. Not now. I think it's a bit impatient, And honestly, it's okay. I can see that. Nah. I can see that. We can live with that. Maybe it's now. But I really wanted... You see, like, when you are in a position like this, yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Well, okay, it's working. So idinidad actually making a mistake. It wasn't the best move. The best move for idinidad was to go over here and meeple this road, right? Yeah. Anyway, so this move, okay, it sort of works out for now, right? They still have a chance. There's still a chance to connect. But I was thinking that maybe we do need to induce our opponent to make a mistake. Maybe we need to hope that they go over here, and then we get to draw this farm or whatever. Okay. The farmer is in. The majority is there. Idinidad, I think, is 4 points behind in this position. If I calculated this correctly, there is no straight line that fits over here, unfortunately. And that's why I was thinking that idinidad should have gone here with the straight line. So that with the meeple, so that he gets the compensation from the road. But whatevs. And you know what? idinidad can still lose this. Now, the winning play here is quite easy. We take 3 quick points. We're now putting us at -1. And we still have a meeple to take at least 2 extra points. But what if what we see another victim of I can't lose the field syndrome? So many players have fallen for this. It's a very natural move to want to do something like this, especially when you have jitters, especially when you're in time trouble, especially when you're playing against a slightly higher rated opponent, to just go for the farm and then be unsuccessful and then lose -4. Now, I think the Thai player is too good to fall for that. But we've seen masters fall for this, I think the most famous example was from the 2022 World Team Carcassonne Online Championship quarterfinals, I believe, between Czechia and Japan, where the Japanese player with a screen name Snow Island managed to lose a game like this. Yeah, the Thai player does not fall for it, so Nacho came so close. So close. But, -1 for him. Again, I think the only way how he could win this game is that he can hope that idinidad just, instead of scoring, drops a farmer. What do we do here? I think it does not matter because there's just no way how we can get meeples back, right? I'm thinking like, what can I do to induce my opponent to make a mistake? That's the only thing that I can think about. So I might want to go over here. Yeah, I might want to go over here so I can make my opponent think that there is one straight line, which there isn't. And then what if he wants to be fancy and like use and drop a farmer here and use that straight line to invade? Well, then we'd be still winning by 1 point, right? Yes, he does this. Okay, so idinidad just needs to get quick point in order to win. Yes, he gets the 4 points. He is ahead now, +3. However, it was so, like, you'd be surprised as to how many players in this position actually go here and go for their me see big field, me fight field. So yeah, well done for the Thai player for not falling into this temptation. But look, he's trying to make himself an extra little city in the field for 3 more points. Not gonna be enough as he's already 3 behind. Idinidad is going to pick up this here 6-point city, which will put him ahead 9 points. And unfortunately, the setup for Nacho is not complete. He will lose this game, but not without a fight, at all. Starting with a difficult position, making some consent moves, losing this big city, losing a couple of monasteries, coming back with 1 monasteries overall, getting a long road, winning the field, but just coming short because idinidad knows how to play endgames, knows how a fieldless win looks like in Carcassonne. I think a classic example of how you're supposed to control the game. If you have the play with the blue meeples, well played indeed to both players. And with that, we will be concluding our broadcast. Yeah, as you can see, 30 field points, but not quite enough. So commiserations to Nacho, who will be eliminated from this tournament. And congratulations to idinidad, who's still alive, moving on to the semi-final of the lower bracket, waiting for one of these here 4 players, I think, to come and play against him. Anyway, so we'll be continuing with broadcast tomorrow, where we'll be showing, where is this? Tomorrow, right? A 4th qualification tournament for the highest rated players in the world, 1400 UTC, China's Phosphate against Ukraine's Lawyer. This is the semifinals of the most prestigious of the 4 qualification tournaments, so I hope to see all of y'all there. The time zone should be pretty good. All of you in the Western Hemisphere will be already awake, and all of you in East Asia will probably be not quite asleep just yet, so I hope to see all of y'all. Hi, bignacho. Commiserations to the loss. Still well played nonetheless, and lovely performance in the tournament. So far, sorry it didn't quite work out in this particular instance. To the rest of you, just make sure to subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this, because there are going to be a lot of these broadcasts, and they're going to be coming out at a short notice because the matches are also get scheduled at a short notice, and there's a lot of those matches. So make sure to subscribe and click the bell notification icon to stay updated for those. And meeple the like button if you like this video for the algorithm. That is quite important as well. I'm going to be now running off. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'ma see you soon.